My name is Natalie Turner-Wyatt. At DUSC, I'm the head coach of 04-05 Orange, the 2011 White, and the 2014s. I've been coaching at DUSC for about a year now. When I was really young, I always wanted to be very active and running around, and I feel like I had a period where I tried on a lot of different sports. So I played like a little bit of softball, and I did gymnastics, and then I think maybe it was like 5 when I first started playing soccer, and then it was kind of like I found the sport that I felt, most connected with, most joyful when I was playing, and then from that point on, it was just soccer was my sport. Kind of never looked back. My dad was a very serious basketball player growing up. When I was very young, he was really excited for me and my brother to be active in some way, and we were always outside at the park, throwing a ball around, doing something. And there was always this sense in my family that, sports or being active was gonna be a part of our lives. And then I think I just my parents signed me up for a rec league, and I loved the sport so much. And my brother was a basketball player when he was much younger. And then kind of through me playing soccer, he got into soccer, even though he's older than me. And then it became his main sport, and he played in college. So we kind of fell into soccer. My dad didn't play it, my mom didn't play it, but I kind of fell in love with it. And then we all kind of, as a family, we found Arsenal, and then, we were watching each other play. And so, yeah, we're definitely a soccer family now. I started when I was 5 playing in a rec league in Brooklyn called ASO. And then from there, I was recruited to join a travel team, which, was very exciting to me at the time. And then I played travel soccer in Brooklyn until I was maybe in high school, and then I went to Westchester to play at a more competitive level. And I was also playing for an ODP team, so Olympic Development Program, representing New York State. And then I also played then for an interregional team, which was kind of all the best players from the Northeast region, and we went to tournaments in Florida. And I guess the kind of pinnacle of my high school playing was I took a trip to Russia representing the United States with this interregional team. And it was a really incredible experience. We stayed in the Olympic Village in Sochi, and we played different youth national teams. We played the Russian youth national team, we played Estonia, we played Latvia. It was a really awesome experience and an awesome chance to travel. And then after playing in high school, I ended up going to a college called Williams College, where I played 4 years there, which was a really great program, Division III, and we won 3 NCAA national championships there. So it was a really awesome experience playing there. Definitely a challenge for me growing up was that I loved soccer and was very committed to it, but I also was really passionate about music, and specifically singing and musical theater. So growing up, in addition to playing club soccer, I was in a youth chorus, and I also wanted to act and do musical theater. And that could sometimes be stressful. I sometimes had to choose between going to a rehearsal or a practice, but I always felt grateful that I had 2 things in my life. But I had so many things in my life that were fulfilling me that it felt worth it to pursue all of them kind of as fully as I could. And ultimately, when soccer became more serious, I looked for ways that I could still do singing, but really pursue soccer in a serious way. So I ended up going to high school at a performing arts high school in New York City and still be serious about music, but really committing as much as I could to soccer. I moved back home to Brooklyn during the pandemic, and I was missing soccer a lot and also looking for work. So I found a club in Brooklyn that I really liked, and I was having fun coaching there, and we would play DUSC teams. And I was always super impressed by the level of player and the kind of soccer that they were playing at DUSC. And the coaching staff was always really nice. And so I was kind of looking for my next step in coaching because I was loving it. And I applied to work at DUSC. Yeah, and the rest is history. So my senior year playing at Williams College, I tore my ACL pretty early on in the season. And that was devastating, but it ended up being such a special season for me, actually, because I became involved in the sport as a player coach and felt all the same joys and excitement and disappointments that I felt as a player, and in some ways was getting different things out of it, through working with the players in a different capacity. And that kind of opened my eyes to coaching as something that I would be interested in going into. So yeah, that's kind of what got me into coaching, was that senior season at my college when I wasn't able to play, but still just had such a fulfilling experience being a part of a team. When I made the choice to go to Williams, nowhere in my wildest imagination did I expect that I was going to be leaving after 4 years with 3 national championships. But we won the first one my freshman year, and my class as freshmen, I remember we got together and we were like, we need to make this happen again. We're not just one and done. And it really, the team was super intentional, and that's kind of what it took to do that 3 times, which was every season, just being so clear-minded about what our goals were and really putting that at the forefront of our experience for the fall. We were going to focus on academics and we were going to win a national championship. And it was a really intense experience, but just honestly so rewarding. Yeah. I think what's so special about soccer, and what drew me to the sport as a very young person, even though I probably couldn't have articulated it at the time, is the collaborative nature of the sport. It really is just a team sport through and through. You're relying on other people, you are expecting things of other people, and just like you have to hold them accountable, they're holding you accountable. And then on the same side of that coin, you're experiencing the joys of a goal with your teammates and the disappointments of a loss with your teammates. And I think it's just it's very powerful how collaborative it is. And so I think that's always been what's been special to me about soccer. As a coach, it's important that you assume a role as a part of the team as well. So a team's successes and failures as much impact and reflect your work with the team as it does the players' work with the team. When you coach, you really enter into that team process fully with your team. You know, they're not just the ones out there enacting the sport, you're all participating in it together. I think one thing I've been really struck by about DUSC is consistent and perpetual looking inward at itself as an organization and just wanting to grow always. From an outsider's perspective, DUSC is doing pretty well as a club, but that's never been satisfactory to the people that work here. It feels like the club is always driving itself forward, whether that's like actually on the field, like how can we get to the next level soccer-wise, or how do we make this a better place to work or a better place for families? And I feel like the club is always thinking about how it can be better. And so that makes it a really special place to work, and I find it to be pretty unique. From my perspective, as someone who grew up in New York City playing soccer and feeling like I had so much excitement about the sport and was a little frustrated by the avenues I felt like I had to get better within New York City, it's really encouraging for me that a place like DUSC exists, because this is exactly the kind of environment I wish I had as a young player growing up. So, you know, that makes me really hopeful about the future of youth soccer, especially for girls, because I feel like girls are really excited to play soccer, and I feel like options to really get into it and really explore what that could mean are getting better and better. And I wish DUSC existed in the same way it exists now when I was a kid. For girls playing soccer, I guess my piece of advice would be that it's okay to want things really badly, and even if that means you might be more disappointed if you don't get it, it's never a bad choice to really throw yourself into something and commit yourself fully to it. So if that means, you know, working so hard at a game and you might be crushed if you don't win, but the chance that you do and the feeling that you really gave something your all is always worth it. You're never going to look back and not feel like it's worth it. And I think that's something that I've been working on with my teams throughout the seasons. So that's a piece of advice I would give.